UK has really come up because of the reintroduction of the 2-year post-study work visa.
Somebody just wants to get out of India. Which country should they apply for?
In today's situation, Australia is the place to go. He got a job in a Ferrari showroom. So within like 4 months, he was driving around in a Ferrari.
Which study destination would you say provides the best return on investment?
This is a very interesting one.
Hello, we have Karan Singh joining us today. Karan is the Regional Director at Planet Education LLP. In this episode, let's ask Karan about the current trends in UK and Australia. He also has an inspiring story to share. You must hear it out and stay inspired. Hi, I'm Jainesh Sinha, co-founder at GyanDhan and your host for the podcast. Let's welcome Karan. Hi, Karan.
Thanks for having me, Jainesh.
Right, Karan. We want to start with your personal background. How long have you personally been in the higher education space?
So personally speaking, we started this about 6 to 7 years ago with our office in Delhi, right? And subsequently, we've opened offices in Mumbai as well.
Got it.
So the whole idea was to do B2C, as in catering to the students directly. Planet Education for the past 30 years has offices in Gujarat primarily, but now we are taking it to other cities and kind of helping students out there.
Got it. Very interesting. And how has your journey been so far?
Oh, it's been wonderful. Really enjoyed the journey. Seen a lot of ups and downs. COVID has come in.
Yeah.
That was quite it was also tough on the students.
Yeah.
So that was a bit challenging. Other than that, it's been smooth sailing.
And what do you say about recent trends? Let's say the last 3 years. Which countries have you seen interest growing? Which countries have you seen interest receding from the student side?
So if you talk about during COVID time, because 3 years obviously, includes that COVID time. Canada was doing really, really well. Everybody wanted to go to Canada. It was the flavor of the season.
Yeah.
But what we've noticed is over the past year or so, there have been because Canada has been taking a lot of people in.
Yeah.
And so the job situation over there is not the best at this point in time. So it's dipped in popularity.
Yeah.
Right. And also there's some geopolitics that is involved over there. UK has really come up couple of past 3 years because of the reintroduction of the 2-year post-study work visa, which was not there before that.
Yeah.
So it was a dead market for so long.
Yeah.
And now it's booming.
Yeah.
And Australia, on the other hand, has been very, very consistent. Mm-hmm. So it has had a consistent policy. It has some cyclicality to it, as in 4-5 years are smooth. Then they have a sort of a correction. But if you're a genuine student, Australia is still a very good place to go to.
So in the last 6 or 7 years of your journey, what changes, what trends have you encountered in this market?
A couple of things here. First of all, Canada started out as a very, very, very hot destination back in the day. Everybody wanted to go to Canada. And I see that trend sort of changing a little bit.
Yeah.
Also because Canada took a lot of students in, and so the job situation is pretty bad. At least the temporary job situation is pretty bad. Students seem to be struggling there. So there's a bit of a pushback from students right now. Geopolitics also plays a role in that.
Yeah.
The UK also was a dead market till about 3 years ago. But now, obviously, they've introduced the post-study work visa for 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's gained a lot of popularity with the Indian students.
Yeah.
As far as Australia is concerned, Australia, not much has changed. Of course, did not allow anybody to come in during COVID period.
Yeah.
So because when the COVID lifted, so they needed students there, they needed people. So they let in a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So, but Australia are pretty proactive, with the regulation of this. Yeah. So right now they've tightened up a little bit, but it's okay for genuine students.
Yeah. Got it. And that was going to my next question. That given the level of tightening that Australia has done, we see articles about quote unquote genuine students. We see stories from our own students about getting rejections and getting the admits reversed. So what has been your personal observation and what would you advise students who are targeting Australia? How should they prepare so that they don't face a rejection down the line?
So a couple of things here. Genuinely speaking, if the student has a loan, is going for a master's degree, And especially if it's in a STEM sort of a profile, there should not be any problem.
Correct.
Okay. What they are trying to do is they are trying to eliminate some of the people who go there at the pretext of getting a degree, but they eventually end up at the working force. You know? And the degree is not their primary objective.
Correct.
So those are the people that they have kind of identified. And so that's why these issues are happening.
Yeah.
But I think this is a temporary phase. By the next intake, which is the July intake, they would have streamlined things much better.
Got it.
And whatever students have faced issues right now, they'll probably allow them to kind of come in July.
Got it. To paraphrase, it sounds like if you are going for a master's degree,
yes,
especially in the STEM field,
yes,
but from one of the better universities and not to a lower degree institution, then you're likely okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's another factor. So there are level 1 universities, then there are level 2 universities, then there are level 3 universities.
Right.
So those could be colleges as well.
Yeah.
So you need to be very mindful of where you are applying, especially in this sort of current situation.
Yeah.
So make sure you apply to the level 1 university, right? And to enhance your chances of
getting a visa. Yeah. I think this is where an expert such as Planned Education plays a very important role, because you can advise the students even before they start their study abroad application journey that, hey, if you apply to such and such colleges and courses, then the likelihood of getting through to the end of the line is higher compared to such and such choices where the likelihood is lower. Is that right?
That's correct. So we are basically AIRI member agents. Yeah. So we obviously get prior information of a lot of what's happening with the High Commission and the universities. So what happens is when a student comes to us, we look at the profile, okay, and then we only give them the universities that they deserve to go into, right? Not just any university, be that cheaper or more, or more revenue to us. Yeah. That's not our aim is to the student to get the visa.
Yeah.
And, and that's what, the universities also judge us on that.
Right.
So it's very important for us.
Yeah. And can you expand for our viewers a bit on the term you use, AIRI, because others may not be aware?
AIRI is basically an organization of agents. So so the official representatives of the universities in Australia have an association.
Got it.
And so we're part of that core association. And then we kind of go and talk to the High Commission about the issues of the industry and stuff like that.
And I know this is a very select institution which requires recertification and evaluation as well. Could you talk a little bit more about that? Why this matters and why should this matter to the student when they are selecting an education consultant, that they should specifically look for those who have this accreditation?
So the whole idea is if you are representing universities in Australia specifically directly, right? So then you become part of the elite agents.
Right.
So in India, I would say there'll be about 10 to 12 agents who have these contracts, right? So that obviously they have more information than an agent who's routing their applications through us or something like that. Yeah. So obviously it's better if you go, we are closer to the university, we're closer to the High Commission. So you will be getting the correct, information basically.
Yeah, this is a specific call out to our viewers. There's something that you should definitely keep in mind when you're selecting your education consultant, that it should be somebody who is directly accredited, directly has this membership, so that they can provide you honest and direct from horse's mouth feedback, if you will.
Absolutely. That's correct.
Perfect. Another question that I have, it's really from my own personal interest, is there's a lot of many online consultants have come up in the last few years, especially as an offshoot of COVID, as a result of COVID.
Yes.
But since 1 year or so, the trend seems to be reversing. So what's been your own experience with that education? I'm sure, because I know you have an online component as well, you have an offline component as well. What seems to work better? Is offline here to stay, or is online going to eat up offline?
See, I think offline is definitely here to stay, but it's for us to adapt. So we have moved on to a hybrid model, right? It's easier for us to kind of have an online presence backed up with the offline, because offline at the end of the day, it's very important in the student's journey.
Yeah.
Somebody's taking a loan, somebody's putting in all their hard-earned money, someone's kind of pledging their homes, doing all kinds of stuff. So it's not something like a mobile phone that you buy over the internet. So you really want to have big brick and mortar feel to it. Yeah. So at some point of the journey, the parents always come in, they would like to meet us, our counselors, get that level of comfort.
Yeah.
Which is, you cannot get that just by some, telephonic conversation. I mean, you could do, it's okay till the application phase. Yeah. You might just get your applications done. But when it comes to kind of putting in the money, having that faith, I mean, you want to, we're traditional people that way. So, it's here to stay, I think.
Makes sense. I know you've used the word loan twice in your answers so far. So I want to touch upon that a little bit before we move forward. So why is a education loan important for a student? What are things for them to watch out for?
So a couple of things here. Of course, loan takes away, even if the parents are fully funded, have the funding, loan takes away the liquidity issue from their lives as well. So first of all, from the parents' point of view, it's always good if the loan, it's a separate entity and, doesn't dig in or eat into their savings. So the first of all, to start out with, it's a good thing, even if you have the money. Second of all, it gives credibility to the student.
Yeah.
So once the application goes through to the universities and they see that the student is getting a loan from a XYZ sort of bank, so that gives a stamp of authority. So, and also when the file goes in for the visa lodgement, the visa officer sees that, okay, this person has a loan. That means there is credibility, it's to the financial side of the student.
Yeah.
Obviously, that there are requirements for loans, right? And if you don't meet those requirements, unfortunately, the loan doesn't go through. So it's always beneficial. And also the flexibility of payback then.
Yeah, makes sense. And just to expand the point for our viewers a bit, that the verification point that you're talking about, it's difficult for universities and visa officers to assess the validity and the authenticity of the bank statement or other property asset papers. Whereas lenders are experts at that, and therefore they do assess that before granting the loan application the approval. And which is what you're referring to, that certain checks have been done.
Correct. So I won't say it's a foolproof thing, but it just makes that visa grant possibility, probability higher, I would say.
Just another level up in terms of authenticity.
Absolutely.
And the aspect of cost that you mentioned, and that I don't think you mentioned that, but it creeps up into the minds of parents and students that, hey, interest will be there, right? Yes. I just want to address that a little bit. So interest is there, but interestingly, the government provides Section 80E tax benefit that allows all the interest that students and parents pay to be deducted from their taxable income. So that reduces the interest rate effectively by 30% for the top bracket.
So it all the more makes sense.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect. Move on to the next question. So which country would you say is the easiest for students to get in? If somebody just wants to get out of India, which country should they apply for?
Look, so there are a couple of things. If you're looking to go abroad and if you're happy to come back to India. So I look at it like that. If you're okay to go abroad, get your degree, work for a couple of years, and you're 50-50 about coming back, you're okay with the idea of coming back. And okay, if you get a great job, you'll stay there as well. In that case, then UK is the place.
Correct.
Because UK gives you a very good institutes and institutions. They'll give you a globally recognized degree. Post that, you get 2 years of post-study work visa, where you can try your best to get a job. And at least you'll get some experience. And if you don't manage somehow, then you should be okay to come back. Simply put. Whereas if you're looking at a longer haul in that sense, where you get more time and, then I would say in today's situation, Australia is the place to go.
Correct.
Because you get like master's degrees for 2 years. So you get more time to be there, to kind of network. Because at the end of the day, master's degrees are good, but the whole idea is to build a network. You get employed by building networks. And then you get a longer post-study work visa. So 3 to 4 years you get. So it gives you a higher chance of kind of getting a job and staying in that country. So that's what my take would be.
Makes sense. And in terms of popularity of courses, because see, that's something that changes over time. But what do you see are the more popular courses, let's say this year and the last year?
So always management courses are popular since it generally helps a technical student as well to do a master's degree in management, for their career progression.
Yeah.
So that's why they've been very popular. Then there are certain students who are business students who want to become a little more technical.
Yeah.
So those guys look for business analytics, data analytics, kind of bridging the gap between IT and business to make them more employable. So that's very popular as well. Engineering students would again go for project management, stuff like that. So these are the more popular courses that I see.
And when you and your team speak to students, what all do you take into account before recommending that, hey, this is the course that you should be going for?
Again, so we are looking at if you're going abroad and your idea is to stay there, live there, kind of be there, whatever. So we want the student to be more skilled. So if the more skilled you are, the higher chance that you'll be in demand in that market. If you're doing a very general course, which the local populations also go and do, then you're competing with everyone.
Yeah.
So we look at it like that. So again, we try and give more focused, specialized courses, right? Where there is a skill angle attached. So whichever country you go to, be that Canada, Australia, UK, you'll have a higher chance of getting absorbed in the system.
Yeah.
So that's how we do it.
And one question building upon that is, we hear about skill gap lists that are published by countries.
Correct.
Australia, Germany has done a similar publication. I think Canada had. Not sure about UK. Is this something that students should do some self-study on? Is this something that your team also talks to them about?
So we don't look at it from the outset because these lists they keep changing. So every 6 months, so you cannot look at the course today and kind of, based on that. So that will be a bit risky. The most technical courses that you can do are going to help you in the long run. So we just kind of say that whatever is a degree progression is correct, whether it's correlating to the bachelor's degree or the 12th study, but it's technical as well.
Yeah.
So that should be, that should be the angle that you should be looking at.
Right.
Because eventually, if it's a technical course or degree, somewhere down the line, it'll come in the skill list.
Yeah. Makes sense, So it sounds like, to paraphrase for the students, there are several things to look at when you're selecting the course. One, your ultimate objective for studying abroad, whether it's to come back to India or to settle down there, find a job there.
Yes.
Second, your own past education as well as professional qualifications, whether you're an engineer and you want to add a different dimension, whether you're an engineer and you want to grow in the dimension that you've already been studying or working in.
Yes.
Third, see a little bit about where the job market is at. That's something they can self-study and get advice from you as well.
Correct.
And sort of take all of these factors into account and then decide which other course or courses they should be applying for.
Absolutely.
So Karan, my next question, building upon our last discussion about courses, is how can students be better prepared? What can they do even before they come to you, so that they're ready with their profiles and to get into the best possible universities?
So again, it totally depends upon whether the student is right now studying in school. If he's studying in school, generally countries like Australia, UK are more academic. So he needs to make sure that the grades are on point.
Got it.
All right. If you're looking at something like the US, then it's a different approach that they take. So it's more of a 360 degree kind of an approach. Then the student would have to do other stuff, other initiatives to make a profile. Some of the counselors, are sort of good at doing that.
Yeah.
So they just kind of focus with the student, hand hold the student and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I guess that probably only holds true for the US.
Got it.
But you're looking for other countries like Canada, even Australia, UK, most of the places are very academic.
Interesting.
So basically students just need to focus on their grades. Okay, as far as the master's student is concerned, the student has to be mindful that there are not too many gaps in their profile.
Right.
So even if he has like a year in the middle after his college, he should be doing an internship or, something substantial.
Yeah.
So that kind of, otherwise that becomes a bit of an hindrance, So that's something that student has to be careful of.
Got it. Very interesting. Which study destination would you say provides the best return on investment?
This is a very interesting one. So look, I mean, for my mind, there are if we compare, say, let's talk about comparing UK and Australia, since those are the two countries we have spoken about maximum. Yeah. So as a master's student, I would say UK has a 1-year master's degree.
Yeah.
Australia, on the other hand, has a 2-year master's degree. So at the outset, you will see that the tuition fee is double in Australia. Yeah. So if it's 15 lakhs, let's suppose in UK, it'll be 30 lakhs in Australia.
Yeah.
But you have to understand that a 1-year master's degree in the UK is a compressed master's degree. Yeah. So student is basically, if he's there to study, he won't be able to do much after that. Okay, so even his weekends are kind of preoccupied with assignments and stuff like that. On the other hand, an Australian master's degree is a more relaxed master's degree, wherein your student has to go to college 2 to 3 days in a week and rest of the time he's free. Hence, he can work alongside studying. So he can take out his living costs. So that is 100%.
Got it.
And also, like, some of my students have taken out their tuition fee, at least half their tuition fee as well. So that is the opportunity Australia gives. But in the outset, you need to take a loan, you need to show the funds, you need to do all of that. But eventually, when you look at it, when you do the math, then Australia has the best ROI since it has the highest minimum wage in the world.
Got it. Very interesting. I want to understand, how does a student's journey at planned education looks like? So let's say they start online, I think what you said was the intake point for you. Then what happens?
So look, we get students obviously via referrals, via our online sort of digital marketing campaigns. A student comes in, of course, we kind of do a pre-assessment of the student and we see like which country the student is, suitable to go to. And then accordingly, the counselors take over. Obviously, the counselors give them the detailed information about the financial requirements and, all of that is taken up front. So it's not about just doing the application and seeing all of that later. Because for us, that's a waste of time for the student as well as for us. So we do everything a prior. Once we know that the student has the prerequisites, that's when we kind of give him the assurity that yes, things are going to be on track. So we've got multiple sort of examples of students who were struggling here, somehow managed their finances, gone abroad, and they have so many success stories that you'll be amazed at that.
Yeah, very interesting to hear. And that's actually a very good segue into the next question that I have. Any stories that you remember that sort of will act as inspiration to my audience? People who have changed their lives.
Yes, I have so many stories, but one story that I could tell you was there was a student back in 2019, if I remember, and he was contemplating between going to Canada and going to Australia. Canada, he was an engineer, by the way.
Correct.
And in Canada, he was getting some diplomas, and I counseled him personally, and I sent him to Australia. So I sent him to Perth, and obviously he had some financial issues at that point in time. The family could manage only a 7.5 lakh rupee loan. And there were some financial shortfalls and stuff like that. So eventually they had to sell one of their cars in their house to fund his tickets and everything.
My God.
And when his visa came and when he went there, as soon as he went there, he enrolled in his course. He was fascinated by cars. He got a job in a Ferrari showroom. So within like 4 months, he was driving around in a Ferrari because he was obviously working in that showroom. And I'm very proud of this boy. And he's 5 years into Perth. And he runs his own company now. All the students I send to Perth, he employs them.
Wow.
Can you imagine that? And he's working in the auto industry. He also got a job from the government of Western Australia, which he denied because his business is booming right now. So yes, such stories are there.
Wow. For an immigrant with not a lot of money to go to Australia, start their own business and make it big enough for them to employ others and refuse a job offer.
Absolutely.
That's quite the story. It's amazing.
These are the kind of stories that inspire us.
Got it. And that's amazing, right? So, and that gives stories like that give inspiration and give a reason for students to put in their efforts.
Correct.
Give a reason to parents to put in their capital to kind of make it big. And this has been fantastic. Thanks a lot for your time, Karan. I'm sure this interaction will be super valuable to the audience, to the students who are looking to make their journeys abroad. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.